Hi, Mike here. You're watching Scout Restoration Yukon. In this video, I build up the wear on the clutch fork for my 1966 Scout 800 4-speed transmission. I use 1013 FC silicone bronze brazing rod. Then I shape it to fit the release bearing. Bonus, I modify the release bearing so that it won't wear the fork anymore. I will show all the details. This is not a how-to video. It's a how I do video. I hope you like it. If you want to help, please subscribe to Scout Restoration Yukon. It's free. Mike Morrow, over and out. So I took a closer look at the clutch fork and release bearing and realized that there's excessive wear on the clutch fork. And this must be fixed because we will lose travel. There's a limited amount of travel in this system to release and engage this clutch. So I have to build it up. So let's have a look at that. So you can see these two flat spots here. That's worn. That should be round. If you can imagine it, to make it round, that's how much is missing. Here's the release bearing. The release bearing is pretty well new. You put the release bearing into this groove, right? Look at that. It's got to be built up that much so that it fits fairly snugly in that groove. So when we see wear like that, I always think about cause and effect. So what caused that to wear? Well, what caused that to wear was this part of the release bearing spinning right inside the fork. But it doesn't need to do that. The other side of the bearing is the side that pushes against the release levers on the pressure plate, and it will spin with the pressure plate. But this part doesn't need to spin. That's why there's a bearing. This part can remain stationary. So I was looking on the internet at different release bearings for this setup, and I saw one that had a cold rolled pin. Someone had, probably at the factory or whatever, but anyway, there was a hole drilled here, and there was a cold rolled pin going through there and just into here a little bit, I presume. And that, when you do that, right, then this can't spin. It just comes, the pin comes to rest against the tab, and it will not spin. So this is one of the things I'm going to do to modify this release bearing, is drill it, and with stud and bearing mount, I will glue a cold rolled pin in there so the bearing can't spin and wear the fork like it has already done, right? And when I'm looking at these tabs on the fork, I can see that they're a little bit blue from heat. So it has been hot. I'm just filing this just a little bit with a second cut bastard file just to get some fresh metal. There's nothing like fresh metal if you want to braze something onto it. So now you can see that blue stain is gone on this side here. There. So we've got nice shiny new metal. I just want this to be level. So I've got a can of flux here. So I'm just going to put some flux on there to clean it. Just put quite a bit of flux on there. What I'm going to do is heat that up till it's a dull orange. I'll just do one at a time. And I'm using this silicone bronze brazing rod, 1013 FC. So I'm just heating specifically where I want to build up. I don't want to get this fork too hot. I just want to get this part of dull orange, which is coming already. See if that flows on there. Too much in this case is better than not enough. Okay, I think I'll just leave that and let it cool off. I don't really like things getting too hot. I'll do the other one. Just get it a dull orange. We're not welding. We're not fusing metal. We're just getting this hot enough to melt the bronze. It's definitely got to be orange. Here we go. For this stuff to stick. See, and it's flowing, right? Which is what we want. A little bit more on there. Go back to the other side, put a little bit more. On there. And then a little bit more on this side. There. Just let that run in. Now let that cool slowly, naturally on its own. Right. So now it's cooled a bit. I'm just doing a test fit in the groove in the bearing. And it's not enough. So I need to add more. So I'm going to put some more flux on there just because. Clean things up again. Looks like I'm going to add quite a bit more of this silicone bronze rod. But I'm happy that I stopped, let it cool off, and I'm heating it again because overall it's less heat input into the workpiece. So we'll start with this one again. Burn that flux off. We want a dull orange again. Trying to heat specifically the part that I want to braze. We definitely don't want it to get too hot. So you see it's kind of run off the one side now. That's not so good. Put a little bit more on top here. A little bit more. Now get out of there. Do the other side. Burn all the flux off. See, you kind of have to get it just before it starts to wet. Now I've gone probably excessive. There. So just leave that. Let it cool off. So now I'm using a carbide burr in a Dremel to shape these. Basically, I just got to flatten them across the top here. See that? Needs a bit of work on the other side, though, I see. For sure. We'll flatten those out. Try fitting that. I think it needs a little bit more build up on this side here. That side's not bad. See, if we look at this other fork off of Scout 80, it's been built up too, but very primitive. And it's a tighter fit. There's definitely some movement there. It can't be tight. So this one looks like again. Now. Yes, I think this side's okay, but this side needs a little bit more built up. So we'll put some more flux on there. Build that one up a little bit more. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. It just has to fit the bearing and do the job. So here we go again. A bit more out on the end here. Okay, we'll let that cool off. Now that it's cooled off, I'm going to try to shape it a bit more. Can just hold a straight edge here and compare the two sides. This side needs a little bit more off. Okay, I'll flip that over. Put this back down here like that. I'm sure the bearing doesn't fit yet. Of course not. This side here needs to be fine-tuned, shaped a bit more. Now, try the bearing. Still tight here. Try it again. Tight here. Maybe it's tight here on the other side. Try it one more. Let's have a look with a straight edge here. I would say it's the other side where it's tight here. So we'll just turn this like that. Turn this around. All right. Huh. That's strange. When I turn it over like this, it seems to fit perfectly. So let's just try it again the other way. Try that bearing on there. Indeed, it does fit very well. I think I want to take a little bit off here. That. Now, there it is. You see, the bearing is in there, right? And I have very little movement. You need a little bit, of course, but very little movement on that bearing on the fork within the groove of the bearing. It's perfect. So that's just fine. Now I've got all these nasty metal filings all over the place here. I'm going to get my shop vac and try to suck some of them up. Attention, fellow Scout enthusiasts. Thanks for watching. I hope that you're getting useful insights from my videos. If I can earn 1,000 subscribers, I will be able to create Scout videos for a long time. Please like and subscribe so that we can continue this journey for years to come. I will show all the details. Over and out. So you can see here, I've drilled a 1/8 hole into the flange of the release bearing where the clutch fork goes. And then I just drilled probably halfway into the other flange. So what I propose to do, insert a 1/8 pin, old rolled pin, into this hole so that the bearing can't spin on the fork. But I do have a shorter one. I have the option of a very short one here that actually might be just perfect. Just hold it with my MIG pliers here. See? I think this short one's going to be perfect. So what I want to do is spray this with brake clean, blow it out with compressed air, and I've got this 620 Loctite stud and bearing mount. So I'm going to grab the pin in my pliers to shake this stuff pretty good, but I want to get a drop of this stuff on the pin. There's a drop there. I want to get a drop in the hole there, right? So I'm just going to hold this. I'll put some of this here too. We just got this stuff everywhere now. Very gently tap it into the bearing, right? I think it can go more. I think if I hit it with my center punch, there, it went in even more. So this has 620 stud and bearing mount on it. That pin is not going to come out of there. Okay? That's exactly what I wanted. So now you can see my modified bearing, 1/8 cold rolled pin in it. So everything turns, so the bearing will turn fine. If we put this on our forks, it goes in our forks like that, right? Now, if I try to turn that, see, it can't turn. Trying to turn it that way, can't turn. It hits here and it hits here. So the bearing will not spin. This part of the bearing will not spin. The parts that's supposed to will spin. So there will be no more wear on this fork, so it's not a problem. So this doesn't have to be perfect. It's good enough like that. As long as the bearing is in there and it's not loose and it's got just a little bit of play, it won't turn. Mission accomplished. Right on. Cool, cool, cool. In conclusion, I used premium silicone bronze rod for buildup, and then I stabilized the release bearing. So this problem will never happen again. It's fixed. In my next video, I installed a clutch pressure plate and bell housing onto the 152 Comanche engine. I will show all the details. I hope you like it. If you want to help, please subscribe to Scout Restoration Yukon. It's free. Mike Morrow, over and out.